I'm going to introduce you to Gail. And Gail works in sales, and she just got married. So she's got a lot going on in her head. She's wondering, should she change her last name? She's thinking about how best to get herself and her spouse covered with benefits. So should she be on her spouse's plan, or should her spouse be on her plan? And there's probably a bunch of other stuff that she doesn't even know about. So what does she decide to do? She goes to her HR system. But wait, which HR system? There's not one of them. It's not uncommon for even a regional organization with 3,000 employees or less to end up with 4 to 5 different HR systems for everything from core HR, benefits, payroll, recruiting, talent management, you name it. And it gets only more complex with larger global organizations. Let's say, in this case, she goes to her core HR system. So she logs in, and very quickly, she recognizes that these systems do great at things like record keeping, managing talent programs like performance reviews, goals, succession planning, learning and development, or supporting specialist functions like recruiting and sourcing. But based on her consumer experiences, what is she looking for? She wants information so she can make the right choices. She's looking for step-by-step guidance, and she's looking for that ability to interact with HR when she needs that high-touch help. Well, at this point, she's confused. She doesn't know what to do. But there's always a way out, and it's called email. So she sends an email to HR. And who in HR? Well, this is just someone that she worked with the previous week. Someone, let's say, that helped her post a job requisition. Well, that person doesn't know anything about name changes or benefits. So you know how this story is going to play out. Gail has now set into motion a series of email forwards and back and forths. And all of this is making HR extremely inefficient. In fact, we've got research that shows that HR is actually spending 2/3 of their time, 2/3, just dealing with this type of tactical support with employee inquiries. That's a staggering number. So HR is not really happy about this. That's not what they were brought in to do. They're supposed to be providing strategic support to the business. And what about Gail? Well, she's frustrated. So how can Gail's experiences be more like those consumer service experiences that we just reviewed? Well, with ServiceNow's HR system of action, they can be. And let me show you how. In order to do so, I'm actually going to ask product manager on my team, Samantha Barth, to join me here on stage. Please welcome Samantha Barth.
Hello, Deepak.
All right, Samantha. So how can we help Gail? Why don't we start with showing everyone how she can get that information so she can make the right choices as it relates to this life event?
Gail just got back from a great honeymoon, and she's ready to get back to work. But she has to do a few things to change her employment information based on being married. And the difference is Gail is not working in HR. She's a sales leader, so she doesn't necessarily know where to begin. Where do you go when you first have an issue and you have a question?
Well, I simply Google it.
I do too, and Gail's going to do the same thing. So if we could please bring up the demo. There it is. Gail reaches her lovely branded Employee Service Center. She's able to just simply type in the words newly married. That's what she is. It's the question she has, and the system guides her. A couple of easy matches come up. Just got married is what she chooses, and it brings her to this knowledge base article. Gail has a lot of information here. There's some links. There's some answers to questions she might have. Let me call your attention to the box at the bottom of the screen. What we're seeing there is pricing information that Gail can use to decide, should she add her spouse to her benefits plan? Should she maybe drop her own benefits and get a better cost on her spouse's plan? And this is going to help Gail to make selections in the next step. So once she's ready, she just clicks here, and the system will now take her through a little bit of question to help her decide what she needs to do. Gail is actually going to choose to take her spouse's name. Not everyone does, but she is going to, so she makes that selection first. And then Gail is also interested in adding her spouse to her benefits based on what she just reviewed on the knowledge base article. Her plan has some great rates. So once she makes these selections, then the system will know exactly where she needs to go.
Yeah, this is just like that example with Lyft. She got information from our knowledge base, and now she's decided to make a few choices. So now she's going to get that step-by-step guidance. Let's look at that.
Once she hits submit, you'll notice that she is brought to a couple of to-do items and tasks. And these tasks correlate exactly with the selections that Gail made just a moment ago. As she's working through her to-do items, she's able to do things very simply from her point of view. And there might be additional things happening behind the scenes that she doesn't even have to think about. Where she lives or works, what her benefits plan eligibility is, those things could affect the personalized experience that Gail is having, but she doesn't have to think about it. Take this name change. If you change your name, lots of other systems need to know that. IT is going to need to know, payroll is going to need to know, but Gail just has to change it once. And once she does, all those other systems are going to be seamlessly updated. Moreover, as she goes in to complete her benefits information, in this case, Gail's employer actually outsources benefits. So she's brought to a link that will take her to that third-party provider so she can get any additional information she needs and complete her benefits changes.
Yeah, step-by-step guidance, just like Intuit's TurboTax. So here, if Gail has a question for HR, what is she going to do? Why don't we show everyone?
We can do better than email. Gail's here. She's ready to complete the task. Should she really have to go hunt someone down, hope it's the right person, wait a couple days to get a response? Right within her Employee Service Center, she can ask her question immediately. And because she's in that single platform, ServiceNow knows the expert she needs. She can engage Suzette directly within the application. And if it happens to be when Suzette is online and working, then she can get an answer in real time. And less than a minute later, she has everything she needs to complete her task.
Yeah, you know, in HR, not everything can be solved just with technology. At some point, you are going to need that high touch, right? We call it high touch when it matters. And so this is a great example, just like Airbnb, where you can contact that host. Perfect. So is that it?
That's it. Wasn't that easy?
What do you think? All right. Samantha, I know you'll be back for more demos.
Thanks.
Thank you. So that's an example of a great consumerized service experience. She got choices, she got step-by-step guidance, she had inline help. Now, what we saw is an example of a life event that was associated with what you might call fairly simple HR service. So Gail had a series of tasks that she was assigned, and she just completed them one by one. Not all life events are associated with such simple service. In fact, many of them require action from multiple parties over an extended period of time, and action in a specific sequence. So let me illustrate this with an example. So here's Tim. Tim was just hired by Gail. So Tim is joining this organization as a sales rep. And so he comes on board, and he's going through his onboarding process. And guess what? 2 weeks into the job, there are still things that he needs. For starters, his paycheck is still getting mailed to him, so his direct deposit is not set up. As a sales rep, he really needs access to those CRM systems so he can do his job, and those are not set up as well. And he's sitting far away from the rest of his team, so he's feeling pretty left alone and not able to collaborate with them. So clearly, as you can see, Tim here needs things, and those things have to come not just from HR, but from other departments, IT, facilities, finance. Anybody been here before? Yeah, see a lot of nodding heads. That's great. So what do you think Tim's experience would be? Tim is obviously frustrated. And Tim is thinking, well, why could my experiences not be like what I experience outside in the consumer world? So if you think about this, the payroll department could have just asked him for his bank account information, and set up that direct deposit pre-day one. IT knew he was in sales, so they could have set him up with the right access to the right systems pre-day one. Gail, his manager, could have made sure that the facilities team put him right next to his colleagues and done that pre-day one. So how can we help Tim? How can his experiences be like those consumer service experiences? Well, they can. With ServiceNow's HR system of action, in Jakarta, you can help give employees like Tim that onboarding experience they deserve. So friends, I'm extremely proud and delighted to announce the upcoming availability of the newest application in our HR product line, Enterprise Onboarding and Transitions. Now, this is truly a multi-purpose next-gen solution. So let me explain. What do I mean by multi-purpose? This is not just about onboarding, but this is applicable to all sorts of life events, all sorts of transitions, like offboarding and transfers, and all of those complex life events like extended leave of absence. Why is this revolutionary? Well, for starters, this is built on our service management foundation. Case and knowledge management is at the heart of that. So what does that mean? That means that someone like Tim gets that consumerized service experience. As they go through the process, they get information so they can make the right choices. They get step-by-step guidance. And they are able to interact directly with HR when they get stuck in the process. So we all know what happens today when new hires get stuck in the process. They go back to email. And that's what we want to avoid. Because the system of action is applicable across all departments in the enterprise, we can help drive action well beyond just HR. Now, if you're already using an HCM or a recruiting systems-based solution for onboarding, that's fine. Our solution can seamlessly integrate with all of those and really extend that process into these other departments as well. And finally, I'm sure as HR folks here in the audience, you'll appreciate this, we can help you put together these processes and experiences literally in minutes with no technical expertise required. So I'm super delighted and excited to show you what this experience looks like. In order to do so, let's bring back Samantha.
Hello again.
All right, one more demo. There you go.
Thank you.
So how can we help Tim?
Yes, so Tim is also going to go to the Employee Service Center. Let's bring up the demo, please. Just like Gail, he starts in this beautiful branded experience, but because Tim is in that stage of pre-employment, the content is really quite different. In particular, we're going to be tailoring this to Tim's information based on maybe his location, the job he was hired for. In this case, we'll see start date is actually going to determine which new hire orientation Tim is invited to attend. So the content is personal and relevant to Tim, and he's already going to start feeling engaged in both the work and the culture. As he scrolls through, he does a lot more than just fill out his new hire paperwork. This instance, he's seeing some upcoming events that are happening at his new company, and maybe he's curious to check out where he can go to get fit.
You know, Samantha, these types of communications are typically sent out by HR and really all the other departments via email. And email tends to be not targeted, it's not personalized, it's perhaps not engaging either. And ultimately, they all end up getting lost in email inboxes. And so what we are able to do here is by putting all of this in the Employee Service Center, we are really giving HR and employee communications departments with an effective way of managing these types of communications, and that is only going to make the employment brand all that much more powerful.
Absolutely. But before Tim can go to yoga class, he does have to do some new hire paperwork, so let's take care of that next. Tim can see at a glance all the things that are waiting on him, his to-dos, things he's already completed. That red dot I'm seeing down at the bottom tells Tim that something is late. So like most people, he's going to click in, find out a little bit more, and once he does, he can see that he needs to take care of that drug screen. So Tim, you're going to have to do that pretty soon here. But in the meantime, let's help Tim finish up a few more pieces of his new hire paperwork. I'm going to start with the direct deposit. What's really cool about this is that Tim actually is engaging with a service that already existed in the Employee Service Center. Any employee at his company might need to set up direct deposit, but because we're in that single platform, we can just serve it up in the onboarding process, and Tim can start this before he begins. As he goes through, we see a couple of knowledge base articles. So Tim's going to get some nice coaching and information that helps him with what's relevant policy or procedure. And by the time that Tim starts working, his direct deposit will already be working. So he won't have to wait through several weeks of paper checks. Now, the next thing Tim needs to do is his non-disclosure agreement. As we look at the non-disclosure agreement, you'll notice he's viewing this on his phone, but he can see the whole document. And the information that ServiceNow already knew about Tim is filled out for him in advance. What's great about that is that it's really making it easy for Tim, so it's a very quick process. And when he's ready, he can go ahead and sign the document. But I don't know about you, when I sign a legal document, I often ask a question or two first. Just like Gail, he can do that right within the Employee Service Center. And again, in this case, he's sending a question to HR, but because we're in that single platform, if HR doesn't have the answer, they can actually engage someone from the legal team or any other department to get Tim what he needs.
Yeah, great example of an end-to-end consumerized service experience. So he had access to the knowledge base, so he had information to make choices. Obviously, the to-dos are giving him step-by-step guidance. And I really like this last example because this is inline help when he needs it. And that help is coming not just from HR, but from a department outside of HR, in this case, the legal department. So Samantha, I'm super excited about what you're about to show next, which is how do IT and facilities fit into this process?
Absolutely. This new onboarding solution is going to help stakeholders across the company, not just the new hire. So we're coming back to the Employee Service Center as Gail once more, but now we're looking at it from the point of view as Tim's manager. Gail is the sales leader, and Tim is going to be joining her team. So again, she's coming to her Employee Service Center, but because she's both a current employee and she's a people leader, her content is going to be quite a bit different than Tim's. Now, she can see all the things that are going on with Tim's onboarding process at a glance. And what's great about this is it's going to allow her to know that Tim is having a great employment experience, but as she sees things that are in progress or underway, she'll also be able to make certain that they're ready for him on his first day. He'll be able to add value to the team a lot sooner.
Yeah, complete status visibility right here at her fingertips. So again, from Gail's perspective, no more sending emails to HR and IT and other departments to figure out where this onboarding process is.
Absolutely. Now, another nice thing is Gail can actually take care of some of these to-do items while she's waiting for her next meeting to start. And because this company is using ServiceNow's IT service management solution, we can put the order guide right into the onboarding solution. So Gail can actually go ahead and order Tim's computer equipment, his phone, and if we wanted to, we could have this be the new hire or some other person in the company. It doesn't have to be the manager. In this case, it's Gail. And then we also can take advantage of IT orchestration. So this is really powerful. The solution is going to take information it knows about Tim and help Gail guide through what selecting what accounts he might need. So in this case, because he's joining the sales team, they're going to assume he probably needs CRM, and that choice has actually been pre-selected for her.
Yeah, imagine the productivity for someone like Tim. He shows up, he's got his laptop. That laptop is actually installed with all the required software, and he has access to all of the systems that he needs to be productive and ready to go on day one.
Absolutely. So the last thing I need to show you is actually my favorite. It's very cool. They're also using the ServiceNow facility solution. And when Gail is ready to choose a workspace for Tim, she again comes back to the Employee Service Center. She's got a to-do item, and the system is serving her up a map of the office space where her team sits. She can go right to the second floor of the office building where they're working. I think of it like Google Earth, but for cubicles. And Gail will click to select Tim's desk. She now created a facilities request that will put everything else in motion, all in a single platform.
Great. So we've addressed Tim's direct deposit issue that he had. So hopefully his paychecks are not going to get mailed to him anymore. He's got access to those CRM systems, so that's great. And he's now sitting right next to his colleagues, so he can start to work with them and collaborate with them. What a fantastic demo. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank
Ladies
you,
and gentlemen,
Deepak.
please give it up for Samantha.
Thank you.